they had some little doubt. I'll be upfront about this. But I did say to you yesterday that we would have put a contingency in place. Our first shipment should have been backdated when the first week, the 10th of March.
10th of March.
10th of March to GPL. Right? And as a result of this, we have not delivered. We're a state agency. And as a result of this state agency, it's like we are in one shareholder, basically the government. That's why we didn't get this thing being torn apart.
Okay.
Right? We have the consigned contract from GPL. We couldn't even give them back because we don't know where exactly we are.
Okay.
Okay? So, we would have for the 7th, we would have already had a contingency. And I'll be upfront, part of it is coming from Paria, part of it is coming from a stat story, right?
The Suriname companies.
Yeah, no, but Paria is Trinidad.
Trinidad and Suriname.
Trinidad and
Stats
Suriname.
only is Suriname.
Suriname, yes.
They buy from us too.
Good. So what would happen as a result of this here? They buy from you.
Yes.
That's only
I did business with Stats only, I
Okay.
think it's twice.
So what will happen on the 7th, between the 7th and the 8th, we would have delivered first shipment to GPL. Right. Now, based on this is what we have to understand as logistics. There's 3 lots in terms of the contract for GPL. Each lot is basically for 450,000 barrel minimum annually. Works out to be 31,000, but you do plus or minus 2,000, right? Per shipment every month. But what we do now, we got 2 lots. Our first, if we deliver on the 7th, the guy who won the other one lot, or the other company, they comes in for the 17th.
Okay.
We then come back for our next lot on the 27th, every 10 days apart. But when we drop off the 27th, we gotta come back for the 7th of May.
Okay. So you have 3 sets of rotations basically.
Yeah, but we only got the bid for 2.
2. Okay.
Right? I can rest assured of this if we were to be good in terms of the quality specification matches what GPL requires and also the reliability of supplies, we have a business.
Okay.
We have a business. Right? You know, the price is already being shared with you where it's the Platts plus the $5, but this is per barrel, right? Remember my numbers are barrels I'm talking about as opposed to with the gallons. Right? So this is something that we need to look at. I will not sign a contract with you if, let me say, on the 27th, your supplies, let me say, your next shipment, I say, look, Mr. Aaron, the 27th is when you need to land 31 to 33,000 barrel at GPL. Of this specification, you have done that. I signed the contract on the 28th and you back on the 7th of May. And that's where we're ready to go.
Okay.
Right?
One important thing to note about the Platts price. Remember, part of you would know Platts got several symbols for the same product. So in this case, GPL asking us for New York carbon 1% and a New York carbon 3.3%. Right? We are 60, which I can give you all the details.
Okay.
One is 60%, the 1%, and the 3.3% is 60%, and they want this 1% New York carbon, they're looking at 40%. So the split. So it depends on therefore the premium, which one of the Platts symbol you will be utilizing.
Okay.
You know by now.
Well, what I'm going to do, I'll have to review that with my guys in the US because basically everything we do, we table it. In terms of the pricing that you guys, the pricing that we have seen, it's quite comforting, but we had a bit of mix-up with the timeline because after I received that information that it was an emergency, I pulled the trigger on that yesterday. So I would then have to get into a meeting with those guys later on during today and have them to push that date back.
All right, let me ask you something. Yeah? Mr. Khan, I stand to be corrected. We have already committed to Statsoli and there's no turning back out of this. Statsoli is already committed to this. Yeah.
Okay.
There is no turning back.
Well, unless you guarantee, really, let's say it will be a big one, right? But nevertheless, so we should not say, well, there's no turning back. We have given a commitment, we have given a confirmation, right? But if we have product here, the 7th, right? Then it is possible that, but we have that now actually.
The problem with that is that because of the fact that that fuel is not pre-stored here, me bringing the fuel on the 7th, knowing that you have somebody else who's going to be bringing fuel on the 7th, it means that only one person will be rewarded for that fuel.
No, okay.
And then I wouldn't risk.
I interject here.
Go
If
ahead.
you are saying to me, as the potential person I want to do business with, I went with Stats solely as an emergency, their prices are higher than what I
know.
have to do.
And the prices is what will concern me at the moment.
Yeah.
Prices
If
is
we're getting
one,
better prices, then we cannot bury ourselves in Stats.
reliability
This
of
is just
supplies.
like force,
If you are saying to me, you give me
7th
all
delivery,
assurance that 31,000 barrel gets here for the 7th, you have to give me some commitment because I have to go back to GPL.
What kind of commitment are you looking for?
Well, basically, your word is your honor. Say to me, look, we're getting the supplies here. I've done my background check on the company. I'm happy to proceed. But again, with chairman's blessing, I will not do anything without communicating to chairman. But if you say this specification of quality that I'm going to give to you, which you've already got from other sources, right? And your thing is going to be here for the 7th. This amount, this is the price we agree, you have a deal.
Well, then we can go ahead because I have had the specification of that product on standby because I was waiting to get one of the 3 individuals who brought that to me before. They were supposed to get back to me with confirmation. So the mere fact that they did not come with confirmation when we spoke, and now I am seeing that, okay, this is a go, then it is just for me to pull the trigger to have that vessel loaded and sent here.
Mr. Cat, could you kindly do me a favor? Could we just print out this quality? I know he's been given this quality, I have seen it. This combination of the plats that you're talking about, because if it's this, I would like Mr. Aaron to sign that he's acknowledged receipt of this. If he's saying that he's going to do this, we have to make the decision with Statutory. I don't want to, but
where is product coming from?
Houston.
Product can't be cheap.
No, it's not. It is the origin of the product is Houston. We have storage facilities in Curacao and Aruba for quick delivery within the Caribbean.
Curacao is 3+ days.
3 days, tops.
3 days.
I mean, it's a day and a half from Suriname to here.
Yeah, but 14 hours actually. Drive west and going direct from Kingston there.
Okay.
So 10 knots within 12 to 14 hour vessel out there and back.
That's a local vessel?
But a park, sorry?
A local vessel?
No, an international vessel.
Okay.
It's one of the time charter vessel.
Okay.
But plus we have 15,000 barrel loading from Paria, right? That will be loaded tomorrow, right? I mean, I'm happy to work with you, with the vessel directors and the chairman, right? But I'm being very realistic here. You understand? It is my view. You understand? I can be wrong. Right?
I understand.
It's kind of risky, right? To say, well, you know what happened? Let's cancel start solely and listen, new product can be here for the 7th, right? If that's a decision above me, I'm okay. Then that's it, right?
Stats solely is coming from Suriname.
Yeah.
12, 14 hours, right?
12,
Trinidad
14
also.
hours, which means they haven't started loading yet. Your
No,
vessel
nothing
is
happened
coming.
yet. Nothing
Your
happened.
vessel is coming from Curacao
Or Aruba.
or Aruba, and you're saying within 3 days your vessel will be in Guyana.
On making the request to be loaded, yes.
Right. How much time? That's if you make the request immediately.
Right.
Right. I don't see a problem, and my concern is the price. We cannot afford to be paying Stats solely extra dollars when we're having somebody right here who is committed to bringing the fuel timely. I understand commitment and all of that,
Yeah.
But price for me is a big thing.
Aaron, the ball is in your court. You have to give us an assurance here that this thing gonna be here for the 7th. Today is the 3rd, the morning of the 3rd.
Yeah, so you got approximately 4 days.
Not only that. Let me get you the
Yeah, I
pricing.
think, yeah,
Get
get
the
it.
pricing.
Yes, and that thing, that quality, I want to make sure Mr. Aaron sees this quality and things like that. And I mean, here is where something I say to you, Aaron, that potentially, these are all barrels. If your pricings are right, this is other product that which we basically buy.
Sean,
If-
we can basically share the prices with him when the time comes.
Yes, yes.
We just keep it.
And what amounts? 62,712 monthly. That's barrels you're talking
That's
about, right?
barrels. That's two vessel load by itself.
44,816. This barrels. It's 2 vessel loads, you say?
Yeah, I mean, Stab, if you check 32,000 because of the draft, that's why I look at it, right? 60-something thousand barrels, that's 2 boatload. But I mean, this is the weekly. We have a mixture coming, right? Not just more gas oil, and so, but you just think of this. Look at the vessel load there.
Yeah, but for me, right, I think that to eliminate the time factor, instead of having 2 vessel loads, you bring 1 tanker. Some of the tankers that we have access to, we can carry at least 2 commodities at once.
No, I don't have a problem. But what I'm saying
The draft.
is the draft.
Yeah, but that's what I was explaining to you guys since yesterday. To beat the draft, you just use a small vessel to do the shuttling. It's better to have the
You will
fuel.
provide the shuttle?
We have a small vessel that can do that. A 550,000 gallon vessel. The thing is, as long as I get the request from you guys or the demand to get the shuttling done, that is easy. As long as there's not a problem in how we do it, then we can get it done. I'm sure about that. Because it will be easier for me,
But it will come within the specific pricing.
the pricing and the timeline. But to make it easier for me, I would request a tanker and a vessel to shuttle. It is easier to shuttle part of your order from right to the seaboy into the port to go back right out there and shuttle it than to have the boat go back all the way to come back. You won't be able to reach the timelines.
Right.
So that would be a problem automatically.
Mr. Khan is the exporter there. Mr. Khan, this is what Mr. Aaron is saying. Okay.
So that's the price.
We will come to 1 second, Mr. Aaron. I want you to go through this thing here. Mr. Aaron is saying that he is looking at bringing a tanker
Yeah.
and leave it in some
The seaboy.
seaboy, and then using a smaller vessel to shut.
Ship to ship.
Ship to ship shuttling. Transshipment. In terms of logistics, it would be cost efficient and time efficient. At least for me, based on how I see it.
But in terms of the transshipment aspect, you will be dealing with the vessel also, the smaller.
Remember
you
it.
will that because you're offering CIF.
Yes, it is an entire job, right?
CIF.
So it means that when we have the CIF, it covers everything.
Yeah.
I am just using a smaller vessel to shuttle to maximize my work, to minimize my work, instead of having to go.
That's
You know
simple.
why it is going to be cheaper?
That's simple, yeah.
Because imagine a huge quantity is coming and that big ship doesn't have to go back.
And then in terms of timeline, you get a longer time span with a tanker than you get with a small vessel. So the actual tanker,
That's very, very efficient.
Yeah.
The only thing is there is that, and you got to know that, if you can have, right, this MR tanker sitting there, right, for let's say 20 days, because you would cater for omelets or much more than 2.
in actuality, it would not be for 20 days because what would happen then? The load that would not be taken from Guyana would go to another country. The same, whilst the Hakeem trade is shuttling in that product, we can have another vessel shuttling fuel to other countries because we have business in other countries. And these people have a schedule that they're trying to keep with us. So basically what we would do, we would look at the timeline for our next shipment, not just Guyana, but beyond Guyana. So the tanker doing ship to ship outside of the seaboy here is easy access for us to get to places like Suriname because we have Tremor, Eugene Prophet.
Yeah.
We have Dwayne Martez from Dominican Republic.
Ones that can
So
work, but that's
it's easier for me.
Ones that can work for you, right? Be happy for that. In fact, that would be more comforting to Guyana as a whole because we know the product sitting there. You understand? Because let me tell you, and that's why I would be very concerned about canceling this that solely deal because we can have so much happening just for you to go on a vessel, which you would know more. To tie up a loading and the can period is alone 3 days.
Yeah.
Right? It's like say, the board not free. They have issues with loading down in 3 days done. Right? Like for the voyage time. So that's why I'm very concerned about that. But in terms of arrangement like that we just mentioned there,
I think it works easier for me, and in terms of financing, it would be good because at the end of the day, the distance that you have to go is not a far distance.
And we can support the exercise though because we have 2 vessels coming in here, one every week.
Okay.
So if there's a need for some issue at all, we just pull some product from there.
And it's easier because remember, we don't have a storage facility that we could just dump that fuel and send the vessel back.
Yeah, but that's how a lot of companies are going out and bringing large things like that.
To me, it's a simpler system. Yeah, because right now, like
Benefit and so on.
tomorrow, we're doing both Dominican Republic and Colombia. The difference is DR is taking 5 million gallons and Colombia is taking 1.5 gallons. But the 1.5, it is not something that is a constant run. So the easier thing to do is to dump off in DR, and then they would go across to Colombia to put off the other million plus. You see, when you kill 2 birds with 1 stone, the cost is not the same. It works out to be cheaper than if you have to charter 2 ships to make 2 transshipments.
That's why with this arrangement, why you change up the name, it costs us a lot more, a lot less.
If
we utilizing our vessel.
the other thing that we have on the table, if this is something that will be ongoing, I can arrange to have at least 8 million gallons storage, floating storage, out at the seaboy.
Well, the thing is, we have no contract with anyone right now. We're struggling right now to get a supply.
Okay.
That's the problem right now. That's only actually helping us right now, along with that. But they can't really supply.
Let me use that as a contingency.
That sounds
That's
good.
only a contingency. So that's what I'm saying. If we have to miss it, but the thing is,
We had somebody and they survived
Exactly.
so far, and we just kind of bump back and start soon, which is one ideal arrangement. But we still going to work off reasonable. But these things need to be conformed. The pricing.
I can have this pricing that you have here.
You can take,
Send it
you
to
can
him.
take on.
Send it to him via email.
Yeah, if you send it to me soft copy, I can just push it off to Houston.
No, I'm saying you don't want to take a picture and send it to the person now, like, because we time it in that sense, right?
You can.
Yeah,
take
I
his
can email it.
address and
Yeah, you can email it. I don't think
you have that there on the email there.
Yeah,
Aaron,
you gotta scan it.
please give
This is
Mr.
a
Can.
tie-up.
I mean, unless WhatsApp. I don't want something to miss because I'm worried of 2 things.
DRJAARN at yahoo.com.
Just take it. Yeah.